Before we do that, let's talk about what are some of the risks of having too much weight, insulin resistance, diabetes mellitus. I don't think we need to spend much time there. We've already addressed it a little bit. High blood pressures. And again, high blood pressures, as far as I'm concerned, are at least 160 over 95, possibly even 100, before we really want to be talking seriously about aggressive treatment. Left ventricular hypertrophy, that is, the heart has to pump harder in order to get blood, the miles of extra blood vessels necessary to take the blood into the fat cells. They have to create new blood vessels, new extensions. The blood pressure is going to have to be higher in order to get that there. Congestive heart failure is associated with it. So a number of vascular and cardiovascular problems in the obese. Sudden death is associated with it. The veins get diseased, varicose veins, thrombophlebitis, pulmonary embolism. As the veins get clots in them, in the thrombophlebitic state, then that clot can be sent to the lungs. Strokes are not a cause of this. Some skin changes, some discolorations of the skin take place. Elevated triglycerides. Triglycerides are harmful to the body. Cancer risk increases. Gallstones. Increased risk. Low back pain. Arthritis, wear and tear on knees, hips, the joints. Increased risk of skin and fungal infections, poor self-image, discrimination, especially with the young people. When I was in pediatrics years ago, there was a great study that came out, and they asked these kids 20 questions. What would they rather have? What disease? What would they rather have than anything else? And they talked about blindness. They talked about deafness. They talked about not having a limb, having a leg missing or an arm missing or a hand missing. They talked about obesity. There was a list of things. What would you rather not have? Obesity was number one. The children ranked being fat as being worse than losing their vision and losing an arm because of the discrimination, because of the self-image, because of what obesity is doing to children. If severe obesity, then it's hard to actually move air, so that means oxygen deprivation is going to take place, carbon dioxide is going to build up in the bloodstream, and sleep apnea is more likely. Mortality increases, that's the same as sudden death. So, in the last 5 to 10 years, it is now becoming clear that inflammation is a big part of the obesity epidemic. And that is something that has not been at all advertised and is not out there in any of the weight loss programs, that inflammation is part of the issue. What we don't know for sure, but recently a very good what we don't know for sure is inflammation because of obesity, or does obesity cause inflammation? So they did a good study in children, because a lot of the obesity is now starting in kids. So they're looking at the fat cells, they're doing biopsies, and they're discovering that very early on, as the obesity is just beginning, the inflammatory cells are already there. So inflammation may be causing obesity, and as we take in toxins that cause inflammation, as we take in pro-inflammatory foods, if we eat too much, which will cause inflammation, it's a stress on the body. As all of these pro-inflammatory things, sugar is probably as pro-inflammatory an ingestion that we take in, short of the real toxic elements. Sugar, caffeine, trans fatty acids, which is in the hydrogenated oils, which is in the processed food, and aspartame in the diet pop. All of those things, very pro-inflammatory, are now being taken in, and in that population, we are seeing a lot more obesity. So, pro-inflammation. So, In addition to just fat deposition, inflammation may very well be a strong component of this whole picture of obesity.